What we do is not about sickness. It's about living. All of life's moments, big and small. Each triumph and challenge. Because you were made to live, and live well. And we're here to make sure you do. Let us show you how care is supposed to be. Lexington Clinic. Your doctors for life.
For 30 years, Hitachi Automotive has been leading the way in innovative technology from right here in the Bluegrass. Our employees are the backbone of our success. Employees like Elizabeth Brewington, a UK engineering grad.
My education at UK allowed me to gain the skills necessary to enter the career field of my choice. Working for Hitachi Automotive has given me the opportunity to become an engineer, working as part of a team, striving to make the best automotive parts in the world.
To find out about Hitachi Automotive and our exciting career opportunities, visit us at hitachi-automotive.us.
Back at it here in the Texas Roadhouse Countdown to Tip-Off show from the Bridgestone Arena in downtown Nashville. We are under 60 minutes from tip-off. The basketballs are out. The Cats are already in the layup line being led by head coach John Robick, who is trying to get everybody loosened up. And the Crimson Tide just now coming out onto the court. And not surprisingly, the guy who's carried them in the second half of the season, Rhett Nobasahan, first man out for Alabama. Before we get back to our calls and comments, let's pause 10 seconds to allow the great stations along the network line to identify themselves. This is the Texas Roadhouse Countdown to Tip-Off show on the UK Sports Network.
The best Cats coverage before, during, and after the game is always on News Radio 630 WLAP Lexington.
Back at it as we get you set for basketball tonight between Kentucky and Alabama. It's the third of four quarterfinal games in the 2016 SEC tournament as we get you set here in Nashville. Already moving on today, Texas A&M and LSU. Now Kentucky and Alabama will battle for one semifinal spot tomorrow afternoon. And in the nightcap, it'll be South Carolina and Georgia battling for that other semifinal spot in the lower half of the bracket. Back to the calls and comments. Alvin in Lexington, thanks for hanging on. How you doing, Alvin?
Hey, David, Mr. Combs, how you doing? Last time I called your show, we had talked a little bit about the interior game that our guys had to play aggressively without picking up the third and fourth foul, where they play tentative, where they can't grab the offensive boards or the defensive boards. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that is the guards that we have. Euless is the good, Murray is the bad, and Briscoe's the ugly. That these three guards, I think, could lead us to a national championship, Mr. Combs, similar to, I think, Tyler Euless could get them going similar to Kimball Walker at UConn and Shabazz at UConn. The 2 years they beat us. Can you talk a little bit about the guard play and how important it will be moving forward? And if they blend with our interior, I think Kentucky will be a tough out.
I don't think there's any question about being tough out, and you're right. Most of the people around the country that know college basketball tell you that you're not going to win a championship without great guard play. And there's several teams that's really good this year that don't have that guard play that probably won't win it because of that. The key, as you had said earlier, and you had said once before on one of our pregame shows, is the big men inside, and now they're all healthy.
Oscar?
Wait.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No,
I don't think that they have to be as concerned with getting in foul trouble now. You start getting concerned, you start playing tentative, and then you don't get the job done. But with everyone healthy, you still got Humphreys now, who's got a lot of valuable playing time the last 3 to 4 weeks. That if you had to have, if somebody like Lee or got a quick foul 20 seconds in the game, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he doesn't take him out for 2 or 3 minutes just to calm him down.
Absolutely. Now, before we get back to the calls, Oscar, great question along those lines by Alex Kudadine. With 3 games in 3 days, how aggressive do you think Cal will be in trying to rest Tyler Euless?
Well, again, I mean, you want to start out the game and make sure you got the game in hand. Now, if you got the game in hand pretty quickly, I could see him being cut down to, 32, 33 minutes if he got it in hand. I don't think this is going to be a 20-point blowout like the other 2 games.
I'm telling you, I just don't think that right now Cal has got any sort of comfort level with Euless not being out there on the court, but we shall see what happens. Thanks for the call, Alvin. Let's go to Jimmy in London. Jimmy, you're next up on the Texas Roadhouse Countdown to Tip-Off Show.
Yeah, I got a couple questions. Well, the first question is, do you think Alex is going to be playing with more of a chip on his shoulder right now because of where he missed out on everything last year, you know, more determined this year? And how do you think our freshmen are going to add up playing in the big show now?
All right, Mr. Combs, go right ahead.
Well, with Alex, I'm sort of, you know, we've spun that record so many times all season, and particularly here the last 2 or 3 weeks. I'm comfortable just saying Alex will go out there and he'll give us everything he's got. Now, where he plays with a chip on the shoulder, I don't think that's any more of an issue. He just got to go out and be in the flow of the game. They've got to hit him. You know, his scoring, Dave, basically is limited to the baseline, and it usually comes on assists from Tyler when they come out to guard him. And if you took away his dunks, he probably doesn't have 10 jump shots the entire season. So that's what plays into that.
Although, if you're trying to project forward, and after all, isn't that what we do all the time? 2 of Alex's best games this season have certainly come against Alabama. They have been, you know, everybody's got a tough matchup, and it seems like the Crimson Tide has not had an answer for Alex to this point, and it'll be interesting to see what they do tonight.
I don't think there's any question about that either. If you look at Alabama, some of the issues that they've got, they're not a very good rebounding team. I looked at the stats before we went on the air tonight, and Kentucky, offensive rebounding offense, Alabama is dead last in the league. Kentucky is 3rd in the league. In defensive rebounding, Alabama is tied for 10th in the league. Kentucky is 1st in the league. Rebounding margin, Alabama is 13th in the league with a -3.2. Kentucky is in the league and number 1 in the league with 6.2. Right there answers your questions.
All right, let's take one more of this segment as we get you set for basketball between the Cats and the Crimson Tide. Steve is in Lexington. Hello, Steve.
Dave, what about you?
What about you, boy? Everything good?
Oh, everything good. I wanted to make a comment about the officials. You were talking earlier with Oscar. One good note is the fact that Pat Adams did the game that just ended, so we won't be seeing him tonight. And my question there is, did anything come of that pitiful episode with him and the announcer from the Green Bay team on Tuesday night or Monday night, whatever night it was this week?
That would.
Oh, you mean with the official?
Yeah, that would be
with the radio broadcaster. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would be between the people in that league up there. I forget what league it was. Green Bay was in the game. That was
the Horizon League.
That'd be between the Horizon League and Pat Adams, because that's who he was working for that night. And I don't know. Now, I sort of went back and listened to that. Maybe he had a little bit of rabbit ears. At the end of the day, the announcer himself said it was a misinterpretation on his part. And when I say his part, I'm talking about Pat. Supposedly, the announcer likes to use his hands in describing action as he's doing it, and the referee was right in front of him, and he threw up his hands as he was describing something, and the referee thought that he was pointing the hands at him.
That he was trying to show him up.
Yes.
Right. And that is a different setup than most places. At most places, all your broadcasters are on the opposite side of the court from where the people are at the scorer's table, but the radio crews were behind there, so that was that.
Let me just say this too, Dave. I've known Pat Adams. He's a great guy, very, very good guy.
Absolutely.
But now, you know, we all make mistakes, and he's made 2 mistakes that, you know, were just mistakes. If it happens at any other time in the game, it's probably not that magnified, but it did happen. It shouldn't happen. I'm sure that he was penalized in some way. It's not important for us to know whatever he was, but he is a good individual, and he certainly didn't do it with intent.
I know people don't want to hear this, but it's the human element. I mean, players miss shots. They run a wrong play. Coaches make a wrong call. They have somebody foul the wrong guy, and sometimes officials miss calls.
And let me just say this about that game at A&M too. Kentucky would have certainly went the overtime had that call not been made. But if you'll recall it, is when they called the foul, Kentucky had a 1-point lead and was going to shoot 2 free throws. They called the technical, and when they called the technical, the kid for A&M made the 2 free throws that put them up 1. Kentucky hit 1 of 2. And no, actually, the other guy hit 1. And Kentucky had a 1-point lead when they got the ball back, and they scored and beat Kentucky by 1. But had that not been called, it would have still been a tie game when that kid made the last shot. It would have went in overtime. Kentucky wouldn't have been beat, but they wouldn't have won either until overtime.
All right, we're going to take a break. More calls and comments. 1-800-606-game. 1-800-606-4263, 280-2287 inside the Lexington area. At Buzz Baker at Wildcat News. Back with more of your calls and comments as we get you set for the Cats and the Crimson Tide on the UK Sports Network.
There is a special place not too far from here, where faculty and staff are eager to assist you, where all students are welcome, supported, and nurtured. This place is Midway University. We provide a unique traditional college experience for women, and we offer convenient evening and online undergraduate and graduate programs for men and women. We know you. You are career-focused, ready to learn and apply your skills. We are here for you. We believe in you. We are Midway University. Find out more at midway.edu.
Gets it, loose ball, dug out by Euless. Cats got a 3-on-1. Right side Mulder, back to the trainer, Lee, and a dunk.
Big Blue Nation, never miss a basketball game with the official UK Game Day app.
Euless, wide open from the top, he'll let it fly, it's good.
Whether you're on the go, in the stands, or at home, live stream every game straight to your smartphone with your home team crew of Tom Leach and Mike Pratt.
Right side Briscoe, driving baseline, reverse layup with a left hand, good! Strong finish by Briscoe.
The Red, White, and Boom Music Festival 2016.
Starring Jason Aldean,
Eric Church,
Florida Georgia Line,
Thomas Red,
Cole Swindell,
Casey Musgraves, and many more.
Labor Day weekend, September 2nd through the 4th at Whitaker Bank Ballpark, Lexington.
Tickets on sale now. Online at LexingtonLegends.com. The Red, White, and Boom Music Festival 2016.
Hello, Big Blue Nation. It's Tom Leach here. As the voice of your Kentucky Wildcats, I see day in and day out what it takes to get ahead of the competition. UPS's team of experts is no different. They offer the tools, advice, and insights to help your small business stay on point. Visit ups.com/startups to find out more. UPS, official corporate sponsor of UK Athletics.
This is the home of the Wildcats. 630 WLAP.
Back at the Bridgestone Arena in downtown Nashville, the Cats get set to take on the Alabama Crimson Tide for the 3rd time this season, except this time it's in the quarterfinal round of the 2016 Southeastern Conference Tournament. The winner moving on to tomorrow's semifinal action. It'll be the 2nd semifinal game, A&M and LSU in Game 1. The Kentucky-Alabama winner versus the South Carolina-Georgia winner in Game 2. Dave Baker, Oscar Combs back here with you. Back to take your calls and comments. Derek is joining us from down in Georgia. Hey, Derek.
How are you?
Good. Yourself?
Doing well. So you had mentioned that you felt like the injuries kind of hurt the chemistry of the team, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, but I kind of argue that it could be a blessing in disguise, and the fact that because of the injuries, because of the up and down season Scal has had, we've had to roll out so many different lineups. You know, our guards have shouldered the majority of the load, but with Scal having the season he's had, it allowed Eric to get in and get some valuable minutes, play the... They've definitely held their own in LSU, so I think that kind of provides us a lot of different options and makes us not quite a one-dimensional guard-oriented team, and while you need the guards in the NCAA tournament, it also makes us a little bit more of a matchup problem and not so susceptible or prone to maybe just meeting up with someone who guards a certain way that we can't beat.
Well, I think you've certainly got a point there, Derek. But Oscar, I think our point was the fact that while that has happened and that's been an unintendedly good consequence, once you get everybody back, you've got to figure out how you're going to play them.
Yeah, and you would have liked to have a couple of weeks to do that rather than just 1 or 2 games. It would have been nice if everybody had been back, say, 3 weeks ago, and you had 5 or 6 games to blend them in. That's what he's going to have to try to do over these next 3 days, getting ready for next week, is try to get that continuity in there as the rotation pattern he wants to use and all those things together. Now, of course, it did give some opportunities, whether Cal would have taken liberty to do this if the guys were all healthy. But, you know, if they'd all been healthy, we probably would have never seen Humphreys come off the bench any at all. And you probably may have not gotten direct Derek Willis off the bench at all, which, you know, those were good. But, you know, hindsight's 20/20, and this time next month or thereabouts, we're going to look back, and that vision's going to be 20/20.
Well, you're right. And the other thing, too, is, and I don't have the calendar in front of me, but if you're still playing, I think it's either next week or the week after that Kentucky and most schools are on spring break. And so those weeks that you're on spring break, again, you got no 20-hour rule. Now, you're not gonna kill anybody during that period of time, but if you're rehabbing guys, if you're working, if you're trying to, you know, work out those rotations and things, that's going to give you some more time to do something like that.
Yeah, if you look back at the Kentucky schedule, the only bad loss that they really had since February the 2nd was the loss of Vandy. You know, the Texas A&M game, that wasn't really a terrible game, playing a team that good on their home court, and, you know, you had them right there at the end. The Vandy game is the only game they played really poorly, and when you consider all the injuries they had, you know, they come through that pretty good. Tonight, though, is another story, and that's where you got to start putting it all together.
Absolutely. Agree with you wholeheartedly. Fans, we want to remind you that tonight's SEC tournament game is presented by UK Healthcare and Medical Center Orthopedics in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Back to your calls and comments on the Texas Roadhouse Countdown to Tip-Off show. David is with us in Louisville. Hey, David, how are you?